Hello and welcome to Module 5. In Module 5, we will work with two chapters. Chapter 5, which focuses on phonics, and Chapter 6, which focuses on vocabulary. Because you have two chapters and thus more work to read through, more resources, and your project is a little bit longer, you will have a week and a half to complete this module rather than the typical week. So make sure to check out Blackboard for your specific due dates, as this won't be your typical Sunday due date, but instead you'll have all the way until Wednesday. So speaking of Blackboard, let's go ahead and move into our content folder here. All right, in looking at Module 5, you'll see that we have both Chapters 5 and 6, as I mentioned earlier. Chapter 5 focuses on phonics and what role phonics plays in the classroom, why phonics is important, how you can, as a literacy educator, teach phonics within your classroom. And really goes over some of those basic principles of how to teach phonics and when it is appropriate to teach phonics. Now it's important, on that last note, it is important to remember that our author comes from an interactionist approach. So where some phonics programs like Hooked on Phonics are very bottom-up oriented, the author stresses the importance of teaching phonics within the context of real reading and only teaching phonics as needed. So rather than having phonics be the base of your program, as you're going through your literacy program, you can supplement it with phonics instruction as your students need. And that's more of that interactionist approach. Chapter 6 moves into vocabulary, again talking about the role that vocabulary plays within your classroom, why it's important to teach vocabulary, different principles and strategies for teaching and reinforcing vocabulary within the classroom, and how you can integrate that vocabulary instruction into different content areas and into your everyday lessons. So you have your two chapters there. Your assignments, again, look similar as you've seen before. Just remember, though, that this module you do have two chapters, so you'll want to plan accordingly. Because there are two chapters, there are two chapter quizzes. Okay, so remember that you've got that. Your discussion board post, and let me see if I can flip over here. And you might need to zoom in a little bit if you can see that, but hopefully you're following along with Blackboard on your own screen. But your discussion board activity for Module 5 works with phonics, but links children's books to the phonics lessons. So throughout Chapter 5, the author provided some lists of different children's books that could be used to reinforce different consonant sounds or vowel sounds. So what I would like you to do is to choose one of those books and one of those skills to use for this activity. You will need to go to a library or the Literacy Resource Center on campus, or you can certainly look it up with an ebook, but you will need that book for this activity. And what you'll do is develop a lesson that uses this book in the context of real reading and teaches phonics in the context of real reading. So I've gone through and given you some instructions there. I'm trying as much as possible to have you apply all the information that you're learning straight to the classroom. If you are currently in a classroom, I strongly encourage you to choose something that you could use in the classroom. Okay, so if you could create this lesson and then turn around and use it in one of your classrooms over the next couple weeks. I know school's almost out, but over the future, certainly go ahead and do that so that you can get the most out of this activity. Okay. All right, and then when we come down here to Project 5, Project 5 has 8 activities, 4 for each chapter. There are some vocabulary terms that you'll need to work through for each of the activities. And then there are some links out to different resources again for your activities. There is one word sort activity where you will need a high school student, or you could use an adult for the activity. And you'll administer a word sort activity and you'll reflect on how that goes. It is fine to use an adult for this activity. Just make sure that it is not a literacy educator or somebody who knows exactly what word sorts are and how that works. So it's helpful if you have somebody who can act more as a student. But there is a heads up there that you will need somebody to complete one of those activities with. If you have any questions as you go along the way, certainly let me know. Okay, but the good news is when you finish this module and finish this project, you will be halfway done with the class. So keep up the good work and let me know if you have any questions.